Maybe you have $11,500 sitting around in your bank account for a watch. And like me, you love the large pilot format pioneered by IWC, International Watch Corporation. This is a 47 millimeter variety. This is not my watch. It is on loan. Are you ready to spend $10,500 on this watch? Or one like it? Nope? Cool. Then this review is for you. F6F Hellcat, pre-strike, latter portion of the Pacific Air War, outfitted with some ground attack missiles, has some kills on the side of the fuselage. This is a Matchbox die-cast 1/72nd scale, fantastic collectible, long out of production. I've had it over 10 years. It's coming out of our mini aviation museum. Since we're talking about Fleiger watches, this is going to make an appearance. What a plane, the F6F. Man, had that shown up earlier in the Pacific War, things would have ended quicker than they did. F4F did a pretty good job. It did, especially in the hands of our pilots. But the F6F was amazing. Another fantastic Grumman product. Looks like Macy got a hold of this patch, available at nutnfancybigcartel.com. I don't know about this one. I may throw this one up there. Chewed by Dogness Mark II. And then I have a few pilot patches on the table from my time as a U.S. Air Force pilot, retired Lieutenant Colonel, 21 years of service, reporting for duty. Now, Fleiger watches have become one of my all-time favorite analog watches to wear. And this has come after years of wearing all kinds of watches. And I just kind of found out what I like. I showed you that IWC watch, right? It is fantastic. These are called Parnis Big Pilot watches, and that's P-A-R-N-I-S. I know you may make a variation of that word as Tactical Doodle, my son usually does, not here right now. But it is Parnas, and I'm going to show you, heck, I don't know, 7 of these timepieces with some competitive alternatives that you should consider. And they also have the same format as the IWC Pilot. I'm going to start off, I guess, with this one. And on the case back, it's calling it model PA2120. This is a Parnas Big Pilot. This is a silver face. Kind of sunbursty, not really, with no power reserve shown. And I got to tell you, this is a post-programmer video. And by that, I mean that I have been a watch programmer for about 6 months now, where I can take watches apart and modify them to suit my tastes. And some of these have been programmed by myself, i.e. modded, and some have not. This one has. And it's very simple. I just taped the hands blue. Can you see that? Blue. Look at how that pops now. And I'll show you kind of what they look like before if I remember it. I have photographs or screenshots I'll put in. And it was fine the way it was, but for me this is more exciting, much better. This is a first variety I'm going to show you. This is a Type B 47 millimeter Fleiger. Actually, I'm lying. This one is not 47. It's a little bit smaller than the others, which drives to the point, if you think these are too big for your wrist, you might look for smaller ones. There you go. So this is actually 45 millimeters, this particular version. So they do come in like 44, 45, different dial styles. I have several to show you. Most are of the Type B variety, and that's what I'm wearing right now. And this has been programmed by myself. This is my daily wear. It's wearing one of my crystal protectors. And here I did not tape, but I painted the hands in matte white. This does have a functional power reserve. You can see it at the top subdial. And then the bottom subdial is seconds, which makes it a little bit easier to program for me. I don't have to deal with a seconds hand. Let's look at the model number on this one. And I've been wearing it all day, so it might be a little bit funky or sweaty. Yep, it is. And no model is listed on this one. I might have it written down though. I don't. Now, I'll put a couple links below of where I go get these Parnas Big Pilot watches. And I have some really good sources for them, and they are very affordable. I'll ballpark the cost of each of these watches, not $10,500 like it's, I don't know, it's inspiration. The IWC Big Pilot, these are obviously homage watches, but you're looking at around 80 to 120. 80 to 120. And these are fantastic quality watches for what you're getting. Anybody who says otherwise does not have experience with them, or they must just got a bad watch. I've spent 2 years prepping for this review. So I've been wearing these watches for over 2 years. So I have quite a bit of wrist time with them, and I can tell you with a surety, you are getting fantastic quality for your 80 bucks. 80 bucks. In fact, it may reset how you look at similar watches in the watch world. You'll say, well, I can go out and I can get a Parnis Big Pilot watch. Here's a coffee variety with a red inner military time, type B dial. And type B means it's going to go 5, 10, 15, 20 mil. It's kind of a military throwback to World War II. Type A would be one that just shows the Arabic numerals. I'll show you one of those. But you get a type B dial, this quality level, 316L, stainless steel, beautiful casework for what it is, for 80 bucks. It'll change the way you look at watches like this. You know, why should I spend more? Now, let me tell you this at the outset. Ergonomically speaking, this is a 47 millimeter one. And generally these will run 47 millimeters across, not counting the crown, 17 millimeters in thickness, that's kind of chunky, 55 millimeters lug to lug, and most of them, actually all these Parnas have 22 millimeter lug widths. You have to know if that's good for you to wear, because if you have like a 6.5 inch wrist, you want to lay these across your wrist first to make sure it works out for you. And I've said that in some other WRVs. I have a 7.5 inch wrist right here, and I can wear them nicely. They're perfect for me. I don't think they're too big at all, and they make me extremely happy. Again, this is the brown or coffee dial type B Parnas. I did not do a hands mod on this. That is as it came. We'll look at this one. So we have a black seconds dial. We have a readable date in this version of the Parnas 47 millimeter Big Pilot homage watch to the IWC. That's actually legible. In a lot of them, it is not legible. And you're going to have different complications in each of these. It just depends on what they're going for. Are they, you know, looking at a specific IWC Big Pilot? I don't know, but they are homage watches. See if this one lists a model number in the back. Nope. That's probably one. Oh, there it is. It does. 2106 for this model. And I don't know if that's like gospel truth, because I have another one that shows 2106 and it has a completely different set of complications. This one right here. Yeah, so that's going to just be generally speaking. Looking at the case back here, very IWC-like. A standard caseback tool can take it apart and take it from me, because I've taken these apart obviously for modding many times. Really high quality. And when I get into the movements of these Parnases, I'm really shocked again at the quality levels. And I'm so glad I waited to do this review as a programmer, because I know watch movements a lot better than I did, let's say, heck, even just a year ago. Because I've seen them, I've taken them out, I've replaced them. I haven't like actually tuned a watch movement. I'm not that skilled. I'm just basically an artisan when it comes to programming watches, changing the looks of them. But in doing so, I do take them apart a lot. And a lot of times it's a very intricate thing to do. Sometimes it's very difficult. These are built just like IWCs, in that you're going to have a steel retention collar surrounding the seagull movement, and usually it's going to be a 2553 automatic seagull movement. Although some Parnas watches will have a hand wind movement, so they're not always automatic. It just depends on which model you get. And in the hand wind varieties, you can get them from 44 to 47 millimeter. They'll still have a Fleiger style of dial. But I'm very impressed with the quality levels. Some of them are gold plated behind a non-see-through case back. I'll say that again. They've gold plated the seagull movement when no one's going to see it. That's the quality levels I'm talking about. These Chinese produced homage watches to IWC. That is fantastic. I mean, I have some photos of this. I've got to roll those in because I was astonished. I looked at it and I was like, holy crap, this is a really nice movement. Not only that, they have the steel retention tabs and the steel retention ring just like IWC does. Because I've opened up a real IWC and looked at it. And the seagulls, I'm sorry, the Parnases are put together exactly the same. Speaking of which, the accuracy of these is fantastic. I would say lose or gain maybe 4 seconds a day on these seagull auto movements. And having run some Swiss movements, in some ways they're superior in accuracy. I'm going to show you a $650 Vollmer Flieger watch as proof of that. It's not Swiss, it's German, but it still proves the point. So we have these three varieties right here. I did show you the power reserve on that one, and that one just has a 60-second subdial. Some of these are not wound up, but once I crank them, or I should say wind them up, you'll see them start going. One of the downsides on certain models of the Parnases is that they will whine loudly. Let's listen to this one. Hear that? That one whines kind of loudly, but they're not all that way. See, listen to that. You can barely hear that one. And I don't know if they're all 2553 movements. They are going to be Chinese automatic movements. Let's listen to this one. Medium, not bad at all. And then here comes another 2106. That's the model on the caseback. I showed you it in the background. Looks just like the other one we looked at. And this is another Type B dial, although notice the crown is on the left-hand side. How cool is that? Then we'll wind it up. Notice the power reserve at the very top right here. See that? Showing a 40-hour power reserve. And as I wind it, you're going to see it change. How cool is that? In an $80 watch? Oh my goodness. Same complications as before. We have a military inner time in red, which makes it, in my opinion, pretty much illegible. You can't even read it. This one has a GMT function right here. So it tracks a second time zone on the inner ring. And remember, one full circle is 1 day, so it takes some getting used to that. These have some beautiful white, unmolested, un-Nutnfancy molested, stretched kite hands. That's what I call these. See that? So these are actually pretty good. And let me get to the point why I mod some of these out. My pet peeve is as follows. I don't like hollow hands. I don't like syringe hands. I don't like cathedral hands. I generally like either stick, arrow, or stretch kite hands. And I usually like them of a solid color. Almost all these following the IWC are going to be outlined in black. Just like that one I showed you. Where'd it go? The IWC. I don't know. So many watches, competitive offerings. I got to show you. That's not it. I'll show you another one though. But it's outlined in black. Now against this black face, there's enough white where this is actually very legible, don't you think? Yeah, they're pretty good. And while we're here, let's check out the Lume, although I'm going to have some lighting issues going on here. Using the O-light to show you. This is not Super Luminova. This is just regular Lume. It's short-lived. If you're buying your Parnis Fleiger watch for the Lume, you might be disappointed. That looks great right now, but about 20 minutes from now, it's going to be very dim. It is legible. And no doubt people ask, and I'm going to say this in multiple reviews of watches, hey, when you tape the hands, you're going to ruin your Lume. And that's not always true because sometimes I do use luminous tape, or I'll paint it and actually the Lume can show through, like this one, through the paint. I don't know if I ever told you that. This will be the first video. So these are painted in matte white. You can actually see the Lume through my white paint. It won't be as bright, but you can make out the hands. But my answer to why I would tape the hands like this one is because it makes me happy. If I find myself not wearing a watch because I don't like the hands, what's it matter if they're lumed or not? It's kind of like, hey, I have the coolest carry gun in the world. Where is it? In my truck, in my bedstand at home, my Race 1911. Okay, so you don't have it with you. Right. Okay, so it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how cool it is. It doesn't matter how the Lume is if you're not wearing it. And I'll apply this across the board. I mean, I will continuously mod watches. I've done about 120 at this point. That's not an exaggeration, by the way, for myself and for others. Look at the bead blasted stainless steel case on this variety of the Parnis Fleiger. Oh my goodness, isn't that awesome? And you can see the cases will change a little bit. They're going to have that IWC homage case. Some will have more of a traditional onion crown to it, like this one does. They're raised. So these two cases are basically the same, albeit we have a different placement of the crown stem arrangement. Do I have a preference? I don't really care. I actually kind of like it on the right-hand side. I'm right-handed, and these days I'm usually wearing my wrist computer on my left right here, and then I'm wearing my analog of choice on my right wrist. It'll always be that way. I don't see that changing anytime soon. This one has a coin edge bezel on it. This 44 millimeter Parnis, and let's remind ourselves what model number that was, PA2120. And since it was modified, I do sign these. So it says Nutnfancy Mod Watch 2019, and then I sign the side of the case. I know, I should, Nutnfancy, you got to do those, sell them, they would sell. I know they would sell. I know they would. I'm just so maxed out right now, I can't do it. Maybe later in life I'll do mod watches. Now this band, this is very important what I'm getting ready to tell you, did not come with a watch, but look at how it makes this beautiful Type B Parnis Fleiger watch just sail. Doesn't that look good? This is actually a $40 Straps Co. vintage leather strap. And I got it off eBay, and man, is this a beautiful strap. 22 millimeter, kind of has that IWC cut to it. 2 fake rivets, beautiful coloration, super quality cowhide, multiple layers. There's no fake materials here. Goodness, that's a beautiful strap. Let me show you the one that came on it, which isn't horrible, but it's also not awesome. So this came on that Parnis 47 millimeter, as did it come on some others, and I usually peel them off. This one's not good at all. So this came on a Parnis too, and this is a low quality leather strap. You could run this. I mean, this isn't, I shouldn't say it's horrible, but it's just, it doesn't talk to me. It doesn't talk to me. So this one's a little bit better. Has a Parnis logo on it. It's got nice polished clasp, double keepers, a little bit of padding going on towards the top, and it's lined. So this one's not too bad. This one came on another one that I took off. This is a tapered pseudo alligator one. I don't really like this one that much. And that's generally what you're going to get on a Parnis watch. But there are some exceptions. For instance, this one right here is stock. It came on it. And I don't think it was vendor placed on. In other words, I got this one off eBay, and I don't think a vendor put this on. This is what it was fitted with. And yeah, there it is, Parnis right there. And this is a good strap. I wouldn't say it's an amazing strap because it's a little bit thin, but it wears well. It's white stitch. It kind of has that vintage rustic appearance to it. It's got that standard Fleiger clasp logo in the clasp. This one's blackened, matching the PVD coated case, double keepers. This is a good strap. I'm not replacing it. This one came on it. This is a standard Parnis strap. Same thing. Notice it's tapered though. So it's waxed brown leather, Parnis logo, genuine leather, so there's no vinyl in it. Look at that. Isn't that cool? And here's a see-through case back on this variety. And I don't think I signed this rotor. Sometimes I'll sign the rotor. But notice the polishing. That's a pretty nice job right there. 80 bucks for this watch. 80 bucks. Goodness sakes, that's awesome. Here comes Tactical Doodles, standard black Parnis. And this is one of my first programming efforts, and so it's not really clean. This is when I first started painting watch hands. So if you look at it closely, I don't like the job. I may take it apart and redo it. From this distance, it looks fine. But it desperately needed some programming because the hands were black outlined, slivers of white. Legibility suffered. This is a Type A dial. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. See the difference? Still have the Fleiger triangle at the top. These are mineral crystals, by the way, dudes. So it's not sapphire, and nor do I care. I just put my crystal protector on them. You can see it layered right here. Armor suit material. And then we have a highly recessed date that is small in type and difficult to read. If I take this one apart, I'm probably going to put a decal on it and program it even further. And I've done it to some other watches. I don't know if I have any on the table to show you right now, though. You'll see them with other WRVs, and I think you're going to like what you see. Tons of personality is what I'm giving these watches. By the way, this is a strap that it came with, I believe. Let me make sure I'm not lying to you, because there's so many straps. I think it came with an IWC style strap. Parnas, I think it did. This one right here. And so you have a variety of straps. So this is very IWC like. It holds pretty good. I think it's released on me a couple times. So the way you'll attach is just like that. And then you'll just push it down till it clicks like that. Standard case back, see-through on this one. And then notice on this particular Parnis Fleiger, it does not have, let me just show you right here, it does not have any lettering really. So it's pretty much sanitized on the back. Same movements. I believe they're always seagull movements in this, which is a good thing. That's a very good quality movement. Which drives to the point, I don't really get the movement thing, in that guys will brag about the movements of IWC, Breitling's, whatever Swiss, watch, and they'll act like anything less than that is garbage. Here's another variety. If it's quality in that it keeps good time, it's accurate and durable, who cares? Who cares? And it lasts, right? I guess you can make a case, well, will these Parnas watches last 10 years? I've got 2.5 years on some of these models. Keep watching the show. I'll let you know. If they fail later on, I'll let you know. But even if they do, keep in mind what you paid for them. 80 bucks, maybe 120, depending on the variety you get. Here's another Type A. This has a functional power reserve. So as I wind it, look at the power reserve go up. How cool is that? And about a 40-hour power reserve for these auto movements. This is non-programmed. It came like this. It is unmolested, and I don't think it needs programming, this one. So it is still black outlined, but we have enough light blue, contrasting light blue against that black face where it looks really good. This is our 60-second subdial. Casework is the same as before. Notice the downturn lugs, by the way, on all these models. So if you have like a 6 3/4 inch wrist, I think you'll be able to wear these because the lugs don't just go straight out. They're downturning pretty aggressively. Look at the milling work on this crown. On the back, and this is going to be the same case back as we saw before. Let's see how this one winds, if there's rotor sound. I would classify that one as quiet. And I think Parnas probably got some pushback on their movements, and it seems like the latest ones that I've seen have been quiet. Look at all the ones I got you, dudes. Oh my gosh. This one is Last Suspects, and I did program this one. Pink hands, y'all. Check it. Pink, not taped, but painted. Matte pink. How cool is that? And this one has a screw down crown, so it screws in. Water resistance on these will be about 30 to 50 meters. I wouldn't expect it to be highly water resistant. I think you know that. There's a lot of other watches you can use if you need that water resistance. This one has a functional power reserve too. Look at that. I'll move the hand out of the way and you can see it go up, and it's in a different position. The date is pretty much illegible because it's so deeply set, and it's also a negative display, which is a miss. Man, I like how that turned out. That looks so cool. Pink hands, and then Suspect put this beautiful Strapsco leather NATO on here. Look at that. So this is what I always say on my WRVs. You can so change the personality of your watches with a strap. Look at the two things I did. And I won't say it was easy to program these watches. They're actually quite complicated to take apart because the retention tabs, there's tiny screws involved. You can lose all 6 pieces. It's work. I ain't going to say it's like a freebie. This is a more advanced programming job if you're going to mod these watches out. But when it's done, this is what you get. Super legibility, second cool. Then I put on freaking a cool strap like this, like Suspect did. It's just beautiful. And he loves this strap. That is a beautiful Fleiger watch, and yet it has such a elegant, modernistic flair to it, don't you think? So it's not just a standard traditional Fleiger watch. It has those elements, Type A dial, big stretched kite hands, but it's more. And the same will go anytime I program one of these, like that one, that one. I only have 3 programmed ones on here. Now let me show you that Volmer I was talking about. And I think this is made in Germany. Here's the case back right here. This is a cast member because I really wanted to prove what I was talking about. So $650 for this watch, dudes. A Volmer. This is a genuine Volmer, vintage Type A dial, stretch kite hands. This is like a 47mm as well. It has a by the way, this is a V3H142 and has SW200 Swiss movement in it, with a 42-hour power reserve. Really good lume in this, by the way. This Volmer Type A has outstanding lume, and we'll just look at it super briefly. Great strap. This is a strap that came with it. Vintage, stitched, fake rivets, but that's a thickness I like. Notice you have polished edges, as you should at this price point. Just a beautiful leather strap. I just love the strap on this. Actually, I liked all the aesthetics on it. And then we'll charge it up with the light. This is Swiss Super Luminova C3, I believe, on this. So the lume on this is just fantastic. And it will last a lot longer than that one on any of the Parnas watches. And that's a poor job charging up. I just want to give you a flavor of what it looks like. There you go. Now that's basically a German Swiss quality Fleiger watch for $650. But here's the kicker too. Albeit it presents well, it looks great, the casework is awesome, bead blasted. By the way, same material as a Parnas, 316L stainless steel. The downside to this watch is that it runs 30 seconds fast a day. What? And then I'll hear the excuse patrol show up. Well, you know, it's an auto watch. They're supposed to run fast. You're not supposed to expect really, you know, high accuracy out of these automatic movements. Well, maybe 3 years ago, I could have given that some credence. But now, knowing what I know now, especially as a programmer, that's a bunch of horse shit. And I say that because all the watches on these the table, these Chinese-produced homage watches, run way more accurately than this $650 Volmer. Where, like I said, plus or minus 5 seconds, and not each one's the same, but I'm just ballparking it. That's how they run. How about the triple CP Aurora that I got off Mass Drop? It has a Seiko NH35A movement in it. It's the same, maybe 5 seconds a day. Super accurate. Yeah, use the link below to the drop, man, and this is a beautiful watch previously reviewed. NH35 movement. The point I'm making is that I just find it hilarious that the Swiss watch apologists and fan crowd and fanboys will rave about their Swiss and German watches, and they'll poo-poo something like a Parnas when sometimes, not always, sometimes you're going to get a better watch with these Parnas watches. How's that for value? Here's the last version I'm going to show you. Holy cow, I got a lot on the table. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. From a crowd of 3. Look at that one. Oh, that is good looking. Oh, this also has a screw down crown in it. And this one is, I don't know if I have a model number for you. Let me see on the case back. I just want to wind it a little bit. No model numbers. Again, Parnas could do better with that. And then we have a polished rotor here. Polished elements of the movement. Very cool. This is a strap that came on it too, I believe. Yep, and I bought this off eBay. Get this, $50. $50 used. The guy hardly even wore it. I put a, you know, crown protector on it, and I'm sorry, a crystal protector, and I'm off to the races. He put a few marks in the case, and I don't care at all. I actually like a watch that has some character. Look at that. That is a great coloration. So we have orange Arabic numerals, functional power reserve, and the black outlining on the hands actually makes a lot of sense now, because now we kind of have, I guess I'll call it a silver dial on this. It's more white silver, kind of platinum colored. And I really love the Type A markings on it, how they're applied numerals. They kind of stand out. We've got a standout Fleiger triangle here. This is one of my favorite colorations that Parnas makes. Oh my goodness. Ah, goodness. And this 50 bucks used. 50 bucks. And maybe the dude put that strap on there, but I think that came with it. I really do. And as you can see, it's really going to be hard to predict which strap Parnas will put on your watch. Wherever you get it from, just look at the photos. And the photos will let you know kind of what to expect. And the vendor, whoever you decide to buy it from, should say, hey, this is a strap on there. Competitive offerings for the same style or the same price. Chotavelli, 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 Chotavelli. I love this watch. This is a Chotavelli Aviator 5251, 47 millimeter. We got it at 182. This is actually Tactical Doodle's watch. Sapphire anti-reflective coated crystal. Very interesting type B dial presentation. These things have gone up to 330 already. 330. So they've almost doubled in price, at least if you buy it from Amazon. And so here's the reference number on the back. This is a quartz movement. It's not an automatic movement. Gorgeous watch. Beautiful case. Funky. Look at the lettering on the side. That'd be super cool to have Parnas do. Very cool. Although I'll say this, these look so IWC-like. It's almost better they're not doing that, because I have worn these and guys honestly come up to me and go, that's a sweet IWC, like this one. Because they can't see the lettering in it. It's an homage to IWC Big Pilot. And they freak. They go, man, that must have cost you a lot. I was like, yep, 80 bucks. They're like, what? I was like, yeah, it's a Parnas. It's a big Parnas watch, 47 millimeter. Chotavellis are awesome though, and they have gone up in price. So I don't think you're going to score a Chotavelli. Designed in Italy, made in China, no doubt. So you can see Designato in Italy. You're not going to buy that for 80 bucks, no way. Especially with sapphire anti-reflective coated crystal. How about this one? Harding Jetstream. I bought this one off eBay for 40 bucks. And this is a 47 millimeter traditional Fleiger, although with a modern twist to it. Same case presentation, same style of crown, same measurements. This is a Harding. And really good straps on these Hardings. Oh my goodness, are they great watches for the money. And this is a model number for this one. I think there's two that we have. One I've programmed, and I will say they are very difficult to program. They're very difficult to mod these hands. Whether you tape or paint them, there's very tight clearances in the hands. So when you put them back together, you're going to get interference with a second hand, interference with a minute, hours hand. I don't recommend modding a Jetstream out. You're probably going to ruin it. I did one and it's working so far, but dang, did I spend a lot of time on it. Beautiful strap on that. If you could score that for $40, it's a no-brainer. Just do it. Here comes another drop. This is a Panzera Fleiger 47, linked below, and it's been programmed. Panzera is made in China. I think they're designed in Germany or something, but this is a super high quality 47 millimeter automatic movement. I think it's running a Seiko movement, NH35A. And the hands were just a sliver of white against a black background. I'll move them around. So what I did on these is paint them. These aren't taped, these are painted. And this is a mineral crystal. Quiet winding. Really quiet. Really nice complications. Fleiger 47 here. The Panzera lettering. Negative display day date. This is a great watch. Really good. And get this, the price, $99. $99. And that's a strap that came on it, dudes. This is one of the best watches ever to come out of drop, the Panzera Fleiger 47. I signed it because I modded it out. You can see my signing job there. I'll show you that. Exhibition case back, mineral, not sapphire. And it says number 18076 on the back if you care. So that's a Panzera Fleiger. I could show you a ton more. I got to wrap this up already feature length. Holy crap, 34 minutes. And it's been interesting, I think. Here's an Invicta military 0764, 3.6 ounces, 55 bucks, dudes. Programmed by me. And that was taped. Speaking of which, if I ever want to restore it to its standard configuration, all I have to do is take it apart again and take the tape off the hands, and voila, I'm back to stock configuration. This is a little bit different of variety. It's got Bell & Ross Arabic numerals. I'm talking the typeface, which I absolutely get tired of, but everything else is really good. The size is 48 millimeters across. You can see it right here, 12 by 58. And yeah, this is a strap. Look at that. Invicta straps rule. Man, they're good. It's rare I ever have to pull off an Invicta strap. And don't discount the brand. You need to search for Invictas that you like. There's a lot of gaudy, tacky, ugly Invicta watches. I know this, but there's some really great, clean, classic timepieces in their lineup for very little money. Look at that. 55 bucks for this Invicta Military. Gosh, look at that. Engraved on the side. Any one of these watches is just fantastic. The star of the show, though, of course, are the Parnas watches, the big Parnas watches. They are amazing for the money. They are Fleiger 47 mils, and man, do I love them. Highly, highly recommended. Wear with pride. They will make you happy. The Watch Show, Nutnfancy Project. Thanks for being part of TNP Patreon. Here comes some more. Hang on.